Wake up any Russian patriot in the middle of the night, and he will tell you how Donbass was bombed for 8 years. But not a single Russian patriot is interested in the question, who has been carpet bombing Kuzbass for 30 years? Otherwise, it's hard to explain why this richest region ended up in ruins and on the brink of a humanitarian catastrophe.
The subsistence minimum has increased in Russia. However, Siberians have not noticed any improvements. Residents of Novosibirsk, Omsk, and Kemerovo are ranked among the top poorest city dwellers.
The Kemerovo region is the coal mecca of Muscovy. Almost 60% of all Russian black fuel is extracted here. It would seem that a relatively small region with such figures should live like a Siberian Qatar. But in reality, it looks like Somalia.
Well, look how black the cornice is.
No, that's not the color of the cornice, it's the result of being next to the quarry. In reality, the cornice is white, but even if you wash it every day, it lasts for a couple of hours. And then everything is again covered with black, sticky, and foul-smelling dust.
This is most likely coal soot. Something like that, it's greasy. Well, when I clean it, it's 1 floor cloth per cornice. And I throw it in the trash.
Kuzbass is literally dying out, and this is a deliberate policy of Moscow. The mining region has been exploited for 30 years, without investing in development. Thoughtless and unpromising coal mining has destroyed the region's economy and ecology. Black snow is not an allegory. It's a grim landmark of Kuzbass. The situation with water is even worse. Practice has shown that coal miners and regulatory bodies lack. Practice has shown that coal miners and regulatory bodies lack the means to address this issue. A solution to this problem. In the 21st century, the demand for coal in the world has fallen. It stopped being profitable. But Moscow pretended the problem didn't exist and forced people to go into the mines and ruin their health at a loss. The dire situation in Kuzbass caused a social explosion. Miners, just like in the good old 90s, began to strike and go on hunger strikes in protest because they haven't been paid for 6 months.
Just according to plan. Here, on schedule.
Naturally, no one paid attention to the miners' protests. The Kremlin has been dismissive of them from a high tower and continues to be. And all because the Kuzbass miners protest like true subjects of Putin. The strike lasted a whole hour, and then everyone dispersed.
For 3 months.
For the month of July. They still owe for July.
Today, they may have protested for 1 hour. But tomorrow they might gather and go to bang their helmets on Red Square. Because the residents of Kuzbass have no other choice. Moscow has driven them to a desperate situation. It has come to the point where there is no coal for heating residential homes in the very coal region.
They took away our industrial coal, leaving us only the landscape that burns. And it is indeed valuable, but it doesn't provide heat, and if there were frosts, people would simply freeze. All those boilers that are mainly on the market, they simply cannot be fueled with this coal.
It's like running out of bananas in Ecuador. Naturally, due to the coal shortage, its prices have sharply increased. But its quality has decreased. More precisely, they are selling not coal, but coal dust to the locals.
Therefore, we ask you to look into this. Firstly, what kind of coal is being delivered here? Our person who is responsible for this accepts it. And because the stokers say that only dust is coming, but it is being accepted, and the documents are being signed. We ask you to investigate at what price the coal is being obtained and at what price they are signing it off.
The crisis in the coal industry has collapsed the economy of the entire Kuzbass, as the budget of the Kemerovo region depends 60% on coal mining. The last nail in the miner's helmet was driven by Putin himself when he launched a large-scale invasion of Ukraine. Europe imposed sanctions and refused to buy Russian fuel. And the EU was the largest buyer of Kuzbass coal. The so-called special military operation simultaneously began the destruction of both Donbass and Kuzbass.
This is truly indeed a significant misfortune for the entire Kemerovo region of Kuzbass. I have a very important question now for the esteemed and respected governor of Kuzbass. Why are you, our entirely esteemed governor, silent?
Having lost the largest European market, Kuzbass was forced to become a raw material appendage of China. In plain language, a colony. Because China buys Kemerovo coal for next to nothing with huge discounts. Since there is no alternative, we have to agree to the onerous terms of our brothers.
China buys not only our coal with very significant discounts, they understand the dire situation Russian coal miners are in and simply twist their arms. They know we have no other markets. They say, do you want to sell to China? Give us big discounts on prices.
It gets even more interesting. China itself is a major coal producer, so Beijing imposed tariffs on Russian fuel, making it uncompetitive in the market. It's like a pickaxe blow to the back. Now, Russia sells little coal, and for pennies. The war is depleting the last workforce from Kuzbass. Miners are quitting en masse and signing up for risky assaults, just to earn something. Out of desperation, the local authorities have even started inviting women to work in the mines. Cynically, the already strained budget of the Kemerovo region still has to allocate billions for recruiting new contractors. Each person is allocated 1.2 million rubles for signing a contract.
You know, Putin is starting to lose support as in each of the 89 regions, our region. Well, there are many families of the deceased being met. As of today, well, let's share some numbers, so to speak. Thank you. We are supporting over 3,000 families of the deceased.
Thousands of residents of Kuzbass have perished in the war. Thousands more have ended up in wheelchairs. But the horror is that in so-called peaceful life, the situation is no better. There is an HIV epidemic in the Kemerovo region. More than 2% of the population is infected. This is 4 times higher than the global average and twice as high as in Russia. For example, in the African Congo, about 150 people per 100,000 are infected, while in the Kemerovo region, it's more than 200.
Asleep or not asleep? A regional conference was held at the Kemerovo Regional Clinical Hospital. The discussion was about the health status of the region's population. The latter raises serious concerns among medical professionals. Kuzbass is among the most affected regions and could very well become the center of the human immunodeficiency virus epidemic, or, as it is commonly known, HIV.
In 2022, there were 1,398,395 cases of diseases related to substance abuse disorders, including alcoholism and drug addiction, registered in the Kemerovo region. To put it into perspective, the population of the Kemerovo region is 2.5 million. These numbers are mind-boggling and indicate that Kuzbass is not just a depressed region, but one close to suicidal.
Mass illnesses among people. The concentration exceeds the standards by dozens of times. Pollution is a problem, hence the high mortality rate.
Kuzbass is being deliberately destroyed economically and demographically. Why do we claim that it is deliberate? Because Governor Chivilev, who has been managing the region's economy in recent years and led it to disaster, was promoted and became the Minister of Energy of Russia.
What? Why did you dare now? Comrade Sivilev, leave the region without coal. You are now the Minister of Energy. Dear Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin, I think you are also aware of our problem. And a question directly to you. What measures will you take against those people who are condemning others to freeze in the winter?
Putin took measures and rewarded Sivilev. This effective manager was not fired. not punished for bringing the region to a dire state, but on the contrary, praised and elevated for the work done. So he did what was required of him, to destroy Kuzbass.
Children are still freezing in schools. Right now, for example, children are waiting for text messages saying that they are freezing in schools. The school principal is making concessions, shortening breaks so that children spend less time in the cold. For 2 weeks, appeals have been made to the governor, and here on the ground, there are no results.
By the way, Tsivilev is the husband of Putin's niece, and the mistreatment of Kuzbass is personally the work of the dictator's family. Tsivilev's niece herself is considered one of the largest coal oligarchs and is the de facto ruler of the region.
It's really nice to see you. Please do come in as we agreed and have a seat.
The only known reform by Governor Tsivilev is renaming Kuzbass to Kuzbass with the letter Z.
The full name of our region is Kemerovo Oblast Kuzbass.
The destruction of Kemerovo was also aided by other Kremlin-controlled oligarchs who own all the coal mines. They are not concerned about the destroyed environment and the poverty of the population because, for example, the owner of the Siberian coal energy company, Melnichenko, lives in Dubai, eats dates, and has never seen black snow.
The largest sailing motor yacht in the world has been seized in Gibraltar. It belongs to the Russian billionaire Andrei Melnichenko.
And the most disgusting thing is that Putin's oligarchs are not particularly suffering from the crisis. When coal import revenues fell, they raised prices for the local population. The serfs will endure this too. But it turned out that the serfs no longer want to endure and do not consider themselves serfs at all. The residents of Kuzbass have finally realized that they cannot remain silent and inactive. This is destruction. We need to fight and defend our rights. No one but them will save Kuzbass.
Today, many large international oligarchs are hunting all over the world, some for Greenland, others for Ukraine's reserves of critical minerals. But all of this is present in the Kemerovo region. Just look at the register of high-tech mineral reserves, and you will see that it includes cobalt, lithium, manganese, zinc, and much more. So it would be quite possible to develop the production of new technological products with its own raw material base there.
Kuzbass is doomed as part of Russia. When all its resources are extracted, it will be discarded, like slag from a mine. Only an independent Kuzbass, led by local residents, can begin reforms to restore the region, attracting investments, opening new industries. All of this is impossible within the borders of the Russian Reich. Muscovy will remain under sanctions for a long time, which means the civilized world is closed to Kuzbass.
I would like to remind you that this video is created for entertainment purposes and contains elements of satire and irony. All facts and events are presented in a hyperbolized or exaggerated form to convey a comedic or dramatic effect. Our goal is not to mislead, but to highlight humor. Please take it with a smile.